everybody. Today we're bringing you a video of the message Josh gave us on Wednesday during the live stream. Enjoy.
Hey friends, so I know things right now, I bet they feel like they're looking a little crazy, and sometimes that's exactly how they feel. We can be really easily overwhelmed by what's going on in the world around us, and especially in a time like right now that feels closer to home than ever, like literally at home even, when we look at what's going on. Stuff in school gets difficult at times like this, and just because we're told not to worry doesn't mean that we don't, and that can be really tough. And sometimes when other people are telling us not to worry, it just ends up making us feel like we're going to worry more about life and things that are going on. The thing is that usually when this is said to us by someone, they're trying to be helpful, but sometimes it isn't. And it's very kind of them to want to help in this way, but the Bible tells us that that's not where our help comes from. Instead, our help comes from God. And I think that's something that's way more powerful than any other help we could possibly get. I think talking to God directly is one of the best things that we could possibly do, but it also can feel like it's one of the hardest things we can possibly do. It's not like our normal conversations with people around us. I can't just look at God and speak directly to him. It's a little different. And so sometimes it's hard to figure out how to start prayer, how to start that conversation with God. And I think that that is one of the best ways we can feel peace in times like this and look at the things that people are telling us not to worry about and actually start to go, okay, I can find hope in this, and that comes from God. And that's something that's hard. And I think, like I was saying, prayer is something that can be hard to start. And so I think a great way to talk to God and to find that peace that we so desperately want is to have like a personal prayer that you can always go to and you can always lean on God with. And I view that as a short way that you can convey something to God in communication with him, something to lean on. So for me, when I'm stressed about life, I pray out, Lord, calm my storms. I just close my eyes and I say, Lord, calm my storms. I'm having a really hard time today. And when we look at the world that's going on right now, I'm praying that especially right now. And I know that it's filling me with a lot more peace. And I love that. And I get this prayer directly from a story in Matthew 8. And I'm going to read that to you from the wonderful Storybook Bible. So, in Matthew 8, it starts off saying, "The sun was going down. The air was warm and still. 'Let's go across the lake,' Jesus said to his friends. Jesus had been helping people all day, and now he was tired. So they left the crowds at the shore and set out in a small fishing boat. Jesus climbed into the boat to take a nap. As soon as his head touched the pillow, he fell fast asleep. It was a beautiful evening. A gentle breeze rustled the sails. The friends were chatting happily as they headed out into the middle of the lake. Everything was perfect, just right for a nice, quiet sail. They were only about halfway across when out of nowhere, whirling winds swept across the lake, fierce and strong, like a hurricane. A blinding flash of lightning lit up the sky. Thunders roared right overhead. The storm blew the water into towering waves that hurtled the little boat up, and then sent it hurling, crashing back down and down. The fishing boat was blown and tossed and turned back and forth and up and down and left and right and around. And in the middle of the storm, there lay Jesus, sleeping. Now Jesus' friends had been fishermen all their lives, but in all their years of fishing on this lake, they had never once seen a storm like this one. No matter how hard they struggled with their ropes and sails, they couldn't control their boat. This storm was too big for them. But the storm wasn't too big for Jesus. "Help," they cried. "Wake up, quick, Jesus." Jesus opened his eyes. "Rescue us, save us," they shrieked. "Don't you care?" Of course Jesus cared. He had come to rescue them and to save them all. Jesus stood up and spoke to the storm. "Hush," he said. That's all, and the strangest thing happened. The wind and the waves recognized Jesus' voice. They had heard it before, of course. It was the same voice that had made them in the very beginning. They listened to Jesus, and they did what he said. Immediately, the wind stopped, the water calmed down. It glittered innocently in the moonlight and lapped quietly against the sides of the boat, as if nothing had happened. The little boat bobbed gently up and down, and there was a deep stillness and a great quiet all around. Then Jesus turned to his wind-torn friends. "Why were you scared?" he asked. "Did you forget who I am? Do you believe your fears instead of me?" Jesus' friends were quiet as the wind and the waves, and into their hearts came a different kind of storm. "What kind of man is this?" they asked themselves anxiously. "Even the wind and the waves obey him." They said, because they didn't understand yet, they didn't realize that Jesus was the Son of God. Jesus' friends had been so afraid. They had only seen the big waves. They had forgotten that if Jesus was with them, then they had nothing to be afraid of. We truly, when we have Jesus on our side, we don't have anything to be afraid of. If Jesus had this kind of power over nature and its storms, he also has this kind of power over all things that are going on day to day in our lives, over all things in the world every day. And so I think one of the most reassuring things that we can look at in this is that our God is so powerful that he doesn't just tell us not to worry. He gives us a reason not to. And so I would urge you to reach out to God in whatever way you feel comfortable and find your own personal prayer. Find your own personal way to connect with him, especially in times like this. You have the chance to have a deeply personal relationship with God and surrender these fears and worries to him anytime. And so I want to leave you with a few questions that you can talk with your life group about, and your life group leaders, or you can talk to your parents about these during the week. Just any chance you get, you can raise these questions to yourself and raise them to the people around you. First, I want you to answer, what would be the significance of prayer right now for you? And secondly, I want you to answer, what are some fears that you could put in God's care? Third, I want you to ask yourself, what would your personal prayer be?